welcome.
I know that right now there's nobody watching, but we're going to go ahead and get started with our introduction, and then people will be joining as we come in and we'll respond to those. But just last year, we sailed on the Margaritaville at Sea, and it sails from the port of West Palm Beach, the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise, and it sails from the port of West Palm Beach. Part of the way that we ended up going on this trip was that Alaina won a free trip.
It wasn't free.
Yeah, and she filled that out when we were on a vacation in Daytona, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were in Daytona. We have a whole video on our channel about how we got scammed into this trip. And what happened was that several years back, we were on this like timeshare presentation tour of Florida, and she filled out a form at a Mexican restaurant in Daytona. We were feeling good after the chips and salsa. So
yeah, and it said free, it's free. But it was a bunch of lies. It wasn't free. So I filled it out because I didn't know. I was like, I'd like a free cruise.
Right. But of course, with anything like that, you always have to pay port tax and then and like other applicable fees, which there are a lot. And
There's lots of fees.
And then there were resort taxes and fees that went along with it as well. And because this particular vacation included not just the sailing on a cruise ship, which at the time was the Bahamas Celebration Cruise Line, but also like a 4 or 5 night stay at an all-inclusive resort, which was our first time ever at an all-inclusive resort.
And it was nice.
So,
nice. But it wasn't free.
Yes. But then as we were approaching the time, of course, COVID happened. So then it got postponed even further. And then once we concluded all of that, originally, like the trip is just for 2 people, but we decided to go ahead and take our kids, so we ended up spending more money on that, which
I think that part was worth it. I
Right.
enjoyed paying for the kids. I didn't enjoy paying for it, but I enjoyed having the kids with us. So that part I didn't mind paying for.
But I think it was like
It was several $100s to add them.
right, but I'm gonna say like the whole total was like a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
That we paid over the course of how many years? 4, 5,
Yeah,
maybe?
4 or 5, because it expanded over COVID, and then I got pregnant again with Pierce, and so yeah, it was like 4 or 5 years.
So we finally took that last year. But actually, that video has done super well on our channel, and people have had a lot of questions about that cruise ship because it is the cheapest cruise that you can take from Florida to the Caribbean. So it was originally the Bahamas Celebration Cruise Line. And then I don't know all the details by which that particular cruise ship was purchased by Margaritaville. And it became the first cruise ship that Margaritaville Resorts owned. And then now Margaritaville at Sea owns another cruise ship called the Islander, and also the Paradise has expanded its sailing itineraries from not just 2 nights but also 3-night itineraries that include some other destinations, but I think I saw Key West in the mix and maybe Cozumel and stuff. When we went, it was a sailing from the port of West Palm to Freeport, and that was my first time at Freeport.
Yeah, I had been to Freeport one time before, but I was right in remembering that I like Freeport a lot more than Nassau. So I'm glad we got to go to Freeport on this trip.
Which is funny because
nice.
I actually think that one of the things that would probably be worth discussing in the comment section as you watch this back or as you join us is whether or not you prefer Nassau or Freeport. But last time we went to Nassau, we thought we wouldn't really care if we got off the ship in Nassau ever again. Was not necessarily our favorite. But of course now with our YouTube channel, because we didn't have a YouTube channel at the time that we went to Nassau, so we would do it for the channel to give a review, but we didn't really care for Nassau the last time we were there.
No.
But
Freeport for the win.
yeah, part of the reason that we liked Freeport though was it was just much more like chill and laid back.
It's prettier.
Yeah. Now the port where you sail in is actually not very nice.
Yeah.
It feels very industrial. So they're like, you know, large tanks of stuff, and like, you know, it's a port. So it looks like a port, but it doesn't look like a cruise port so much. There is like a straw market that was out there, but it wasn't open when the Margaritaville at Sea was in port.
No.
I'm sure it's for like some of the larger cruise ships from other cruise lines. And then since we stayed there for several days, we actually got to spend a little more time checking out the island, and we connected with a pastor friend who, like a mutual friend, I got us in contact with, and he gave us a big tour of the island from his perspective.
That was really neat.
Yeah, I think it gave us a better like understanding, a better picture of like what's good to do on the island. So we really liked that. But we're for this live stream, we were primarily going to focus on the questions and comments that we've gotten on the Margaritaville at Sea Honest Tour and Review video. And this cruise ship's pretty controversial. So
we're gonna
we
give
got
you
a
the
lot
good,
of feedback.
the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. So someone said, "Ugh, sanitize your kids," and I think that is a reference to the perceived uncleanliness of the ship. And I will say, like, there are some kind of grungy aspects of this
I
ship.
guess.
Like when we like the carpet in the rooms looked like it had seen better days.
Yeah, it was kind of dingy.
But I felt like that, you know, overall, most things were kept pretty clean. Now, when we got in, we were doing like a room tour. And as I was checking drawers, I found some shoes in the drawer. So I don't know what that means for cleaning. Maybe you can tell me what your thoughts would be if you found shoes in the drawer of either your cruise ship or your hotel room. But I took them right outside to the stateroom attendant and probably washed my hands afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like going anywhere else in the world. You go to Walmart, Walmart's disgusting.
Yeah.
So you got to bathe in hand sanitizer no matter where you go. So on a cruise boat, yeah, sure. In a hotel, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any different. In my mind, it's not any different than going to a hotel.
Yeah,
So
I wasn't sure. I didn't think
it was that bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gross. It didn't seem unkept.
No.
So, and I'm kind of a germaphobe. Like,
Yeah, he is.
I recently posted a short form video on YouTube and also like a reel on Instagram about how that I've started wearing gloves to the gas station because the only thing I can think the whole time, it's not even just like the gas pump handle, which that's got to be gross, but it is the keypads are so like you can just feel when you're like touching it that like a million people have touched it before and it's never been cleaned. But anyway, this said sanitize your kids, and then someone responded, "Why? I've done this cruise before and there were no real issues, hidden charges on quite a few things, but not really anything else negative to mention. Onboarding and offboarding stinks no matter the cruise you do.
True.
And this was no exception. Why do you people love to hate on cheaper stuff? You're snobs and you need to grow up." So this person's either not a snob and they're going out on Bayonne. The embarkation is very smooth and debarkation is very smooth. I've just seen many videos of this ship and it doesn't have high standards, just saying. So a person who never sailed on the cruise is hating on it. And really, part of the reason that this cruise ship is so controversial is because it really does get a lot of negative comments there's been a lot of negative videos about it on YouTube. So we felt like that a lot of those videos are play up the negative aspects of the ship and only emphasize those to the exclusion of maybe the more positive aspects for the sake of views. So I felt like that was slanted. That's why when we said that ours was an honest tour and review, we just gave our personal perspective.
Yeah.
And you'll see that got some hate. Next one is, it's a cheap booze cruise, that's all. Not a vacation with wife or family. A drunken cruise ship. So
that's every cruise, in my personal opinion. Like, if that's what you're looking for on a cruise boat, you're gonna find it because we've sailed on Carnival, we've sailed on Royal Caribbean, and we've done both of those multiple times. And I can honestly say that I did not feel like the Margaritaville was any more like boozy than other cruise ships. They're all the same. If you're looking for that, you're gonna find it.
Yeah,
but we weren't looking for that. So
I think that for us, there are a couple of things. We usually go to bed pretty early, so we weren't staying out late when people were partying.
Yeah, we miss
and
out
stuff.
on all the crazy stuff happening on the decks
There
past
were
10 p.m.
there were only 2 incidents where we encountered, like something related to drunkenness. Like one family was their kids were playing on the deck and like running around and stuff with our kids, and the mom came over and she was wearing like a lanyard that had the she had paid for the beverage pass. What am I thinking? Like
the package.
Yeah, whatever. And she was kind of slurring her words, and they had cut her off, and that's what she was complaining to us about. And she was from somewhere in Central Florida, so like, but she wasn't aggressive. She wasn't being obscene or anything, but she was just talking about like drinking a lot. So that was one thing. But then, and I feel like that could happen at Walmart where we live.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're looking for that, you're gonna find it.
And then
it's a cruise boat.
There was an incident where there was like some screaming and something going on in the hallway in the middle of the night. And one of the things that I didn't pay attention to when we first got on the cruise, but then when people were screaming and fighting in the middle of the night, there was like an air return on the cabin door, the stateroom door. To get in there was like an air return vent at the bottom. So I think that's what allowed the sound to get in. So that was kind of a weird configuration for a stateroom door. Is that normal for there to be an air return at the bottom of your stateroom door? I only noticed that once I heard the screaming outside. So Finn Adkins says, yo, and we say, yo. And Buzzwell says, having grown up listening to Jimmy Buffett and after 2 times on Paradise and 1 time on Islander, I find it a brand failure that they advertise cheeseburger in Paradise, however, it doesn't have Heinz 57 sauce.
Oh,
okay.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, brother.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about that, but that does sound sad. I
So
guess you should have Heinz 57 sauce. I hope you put that in the comment box on the boat.
And then the next comment is, ships have decks, not floors. This is a correction of Alaina's terminology. Actually, in this case, it was mine.
Oh,
so
okay.
here's something that that I was getting wrong in the video. In the tour video, I kept saying, okay, first floor, second floor. Like, only a couple of times I said deck. But, I was getting mixed up when I was doing that. When you're like talking on camera, sometimes
that's such a silly comment though, because when you're inside like the middle of the cruise ship, you are standing on a floor. So I feel like that's just a technical comment that wasn't necessary.
Well, they're right. It's decks. But one of the things that Alaina does that is funny is that she calls every ship a boat. So we're gonna get back on the boat, even though like a boat is definitely like a smaller vessel.
Well, to me it doesn't matter. The cruise boat. It's a cruise boat.
So cruise enthusiasts
Does it really matter?
I get irritated with AikenAdventures vernacular. But,
that's okay.
So as always, you have never taken a traditional cruise, is what they said.
As always is kind of an extreme word. We've been on several cruises, but we just haven't taken our children with us. So I think that comment doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So for us, we sailed on a Carnival cruise when we got married. Alaina had been on 2 cruises with her family prior to that.
I've been on 6 cruises now.
I had never cruised before we got married, but on our honeymoon, we sailed on a Carnival cruise. We sailed from, I guess, either Port Everglades or Miami. I can't remember real well, but from South Florida to Key West to Cozumel and then back. And then I was hooked. Like, I think that's pretty true. Like, if you take a cruise the first time, then you want to do it again and again. And then our next cruise was a Royal Caribbean cruise. And then this was our 3rd cruise together. And we took it was our 4th. Because our 3rd cruise was on the Celebrity Ecstasy?
Silhouette.
Silhouette, yes.
Yeah. That was a nice one.
Yeah, the celebrity silhouette. That was our first time on a celebrity cruise, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, we've been on a lot of cruises. We just haven't put them on our channel, and we haven't taken our kids.
Yeah.
So
The celebrity silhouette is on our channel.
yeah.
So if you want to see where we've taken another cruise, you can do that one. And we're going to talk about, we have another cruise coming up. We'll tell you more details about that toward the end of the live stream. And then another comment, I'm not a fan of cruises. I've taken one through the Greek islands a long time ago with an ex-girlfriend. So
Well, I'm sure that doesn't have fond memories, but maybe you should try again. 'Cause
Yeah.
we love to cruise.
the Greek islands sound nice.
know.
I would love to.
Never done that.
Yeah, I would love to visit Greece.
One day.
Yeah.
One day it'll be on the agenda.
We'll do an AikenAdventures Mediterranean cruise. So that sounds like fun.
Yes, it sure does.
That almost looks as bad as carnival ships. So actually,
I love carnival ships.
yeah,
That sounds
there are
terrible.
some things that I really like about Carnival.
Yeah, I love carnival.
Although the cruise that we're taking coming up soon is going to be a Carnival cruise, and we're going to review it from the standpoint of parents with toddlers and small children.
Mm-hmm.
So we I do wonder how that's going to turn out. Because at this point, I do wonder if our perspective, like we're not partiers or gamblers or anything like that, so we don't do that on any cruise ship. But I do wonder if we would have a different perspective on taking our kids on like Royal Caribbean now that we have kids.
Yeah.
Because the last time we sailed Carnival was Alaina with her family. But then once we got married, we sailed on Carnival. So she's been on Carnival twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering. But my aunt and uncle, they sail exclusively Carnival, and they love it. And I think that's what they did with Gabriel, my cousin, when he was growing up. So, and then this person called Margaritaville at Sea the Dollar Tree cruise line, which is funny because that is one of the things they call it, Dollar Tree of the Seas. And then someone said, maybe it's Dollar General. I don't know.
I'm
You
here
can
for
argue.
that.
So,
I'm good. I love Dollar Tree, and I
Well,
love Dollar Tree cruises.
Speaking of Dollar Tree, tomorrow night we have another Dollar Tree haul video that's coming out from it's a Dollar Tree road trip haul. So we, before we went on a road trip, we took our kids to Dollar Tree so that they could pick out some things for the road trip. So be sure that you take a look tomorrow and see when that video comes out.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then, do you have to pay to eat?
Depends.
There are specialty dining restaurants typically on every cruise, but there are also complimentary included dining. One thing that I was surprised about is I was actually surprised that the main dining room existed, which is funny because I think I went on, maybe I had watched a lot of videos about the cruise before going on the cruise. But even having done that, I didn't feel like that there were anybody who really like talked through the cruise from like a tradition, like the way that you would typically see cruise videos. Most of them were very like viral, like clickbaity style videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I got a real picture of what the cruise ship was actually going to be like.
Yeah.
Just like a caricature of like some hyped up version of what it was. So when I went on, I expected that it would just be the buffet and the cheeseburger in paradise place, but there was a main dining room, and actually it was pretty good. Yeah. I think the first night we sailed was like, what did we sail out on, like Sunday or Sunday or Monday? Okay, so we sailed on a Monday, and Sunday night they had jerk chicken on the menu, and it was really good. I took a video of it after I had already like taken a bite of it and stuff, but so it didn't look as good on the video as it did in person, but it looked fine and it tasted good.
Yeah.
And then later somebody commented that I mispronounced the word yucca in the video. So
People are so funny. Y'all are so funny.
yeah. And then do you have to pay to eat? You could choose not to, and then you could go to all of the included dining. But there are specialty dining restaurants on the thing too. Like there's a steakhouse. I think.
Like a pizza place.
And then
too.
there's a pizza place.
Yeah.
Those are the two I remember. There might be something else. So
But
if
it's
somebody,
like that on any boat that
Yeah.
you go on. There's going to be your main dining options, and then this boat, it was obviously more limited because it was a smaller boat, but there still was a dining room and a buffet and a couple, like the cheeseburger place, that was free. But then you
see,
had
I
your
told you she calls it
specialty
a boat.
on the ship,
Okay.
whatever, with its floors.
And then they ask if there was a casino. There is.
Yeah,
And then someone said that the casino is smoke free. So that's kind of
Oh,
ironic.
we didn't know that, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And then did you guys utilize the kids club? No, we did
No,
not.
we have personal convictions about that. We don't know those people, and we don't know where they're from or what they're going to talk to our kids about. We don't usually do things like that unless we know them. So, but you could. There are kids clubs for all ages.
So Buzz says pizza now free on Paradise. Sushi has been added.
Oh.
Wow, that's really cool. So the pizza
Nice.
restaurant that's on like, I don't know, deck 3 or
It's
something.
free now.
That's,
Interesting.
yeah,
I
thanks
think
for
you had
that.
to pay for it when we went.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true.
Okay. Well,
So-
thanks for that tip. Good to know.
And
Sushi.
so we did skip out on the kids club. The next thing is the shoes still being in the room made me think that they don't clean the place well. I did have that question,
Yeah,
so that makes
That might
sense.
be accurate.
And then how can you miss shoes in the drawer? I'm not really sure. And then this one is my favorite. Wait, those are my shoes. So
We're not
maybe
sure
they
if
were.
that was for real or not.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny if it were
If
though?
the person who lost their shoes.
I feel like that
watched our
somebody
video.
should go and like that comment.
Yeah.
Because that wins the day. I'm gonna pin it.
There you go.
There we
Smart.
go. That one should be at the top. That's a fave.
Yeah.
Okay, and then childcare for kids free ? What are the hours of operation? I do think it was included.
Yeah, and they open at like 8 a.m. and it went until, was it like 4? Like 4 p.m.? I can't
Sure.
remember exactly. We'd have to look it up.
Yeah, and the kids area, our kids had fun playing in there for just a few minutes while we were doing the tour portion of the video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's free. It's included. I think that's the case for most boats, or ships that you go on.
Yes, them not finding the shoes shows you how bad the cleaning job was. So.
Well, but to be fair, like we went on the Celebrity Silhouette and it's like a fancier boat and there was stuff in our refrigerator, remember, that was opened and they didn't catch that
Oh,
and they
that's
tried
right.
to charge us for it, but we didn't open it.
Yeah.
So they didn't clean their refrigerator either. And we've found stuff at hotels, so
Some other
That
friends that we
happens.
were sailing with at the time, they had, from the moment they arrived in their room, they had the stateroom attendant remove all of the booze from their refrigerator so that they couldn't be charged for
which
it.
is smart.
Yeah,
'cause that
I
could
do
happen.
think that's something that we may
Stuff
consider
gets
doing
left.
from now on because
Yeah.
we don't drink. I'm not paying for somebody else to do it, so
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. It doesn't look like there are a lot of people on board. Is that because you did the video prior to majority boarding? So the tour video that I made when I was primarily doing a tour of the whole ship, that was while we were still in port, like just before we were sailing out of Freeport. So it was before the majority boarded, but I will say I did not feel like the ship was as crowded as some ships are that have longer itineraries. Usually it feels like when you get on most cruises, like it's pretty close to capacity. But I think because this one basically functions as like an overnight shuttle to Freeport and then back overnight, that it's making frequent enough trips that they try to make up that volume through the number of people who take the trip throughout the year or whatever. Anyway, the capacity is a little bit different. I'm sure there are certain times of year where it might be sailing at full capacity, but I didn't feel like
It didn't feel
that.
crowded to us.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
didn't.
people everywhere, but it wasn't like, oh, this is uncomfortable crowded. It
Yeah,
wasn't that bad.
I didn't really think that it was at capacity. So, somebody asked how the daycare was. We've already answered that. We don't really know, other than what the room looked like. Is the Finn dining room a self-serve buffet? No, it is not. It's main dining room. It is full service, just like on any other cruise ship where there's a main dining room, and there are servers and
But there's
stuff.
the buffet. That's a different part of the ship, but that is self-serve.
Can you bring your own case of bottled water on board?
I don't know that.
I think that policy, oh, here, I did look that up, I think, in
Okay.
order to answer that question.
I'll tell you what I do in just a moment.
Margaritaville at sea does not permit water.
Okay.
So that was their policy as of 6 months ago when I looked at this. So that could possibly change. And that is a good question because the assumption that I think most people would have, like bringing water on seems like a simple, straightforward thing that everybody should be able to do. But that may vary from cruise line to cruise line. So it's really good to look up those details prior to going on a cruise. Any cruise that you go on, you're going to want to go online and look for what are prohibited items, because usually there's a long list of stuff that you think is just commonplace things that you should be able to bring.
They'll take it from.
Sure, yeah. And a lot of it has to do with like electricity capacity too.
Yeah.
So a lot of like smaller appliances that you would typically take with you when you're traveling are excluded from cruise ships.
Yeah.
So,
and it makes sense when you think about it's like just a big floating city on the water. But what I do and what I did for this cruise is I went to Dollar Tree and I bought my own water bottle with a lid and I just filled it up. But I mean, if your concern is drinking water off the boat, then that would be different. But I just brought my own cup and just filled up all throughout the week and it was fine.
someone said nothing wrong with concerts with Jimmy Buffett. Parrot heads unite. That's because I'm on the Margaritaville at Sea cruise ship. They do play Jimmy Buffett concerts throughout the cruise. So nearly everywhere you go, he's on a screen somewhere singing the Margaritaville song or Cheeseburger in Paradise or, you know, any of the Jimmy Buffett songs.
All the classics.
So we stayed in the suite and heard no noise. So what that's referring to is that I mentioned that there's a suite level that's just below the Lido deck level or like the pool deck. And so on the tour video, I mentioned that we learned the hard way on the Celebrity Silhouette that it really does matter where your room is located in relation to other things. So you don't want to be near a club. You don't want your room near a club. You don't want your room near the theater. You don't want your room, if you can avoid being really close to the elevators, if you can avoid being right under a kitchen or the dining room. That's what happened to us. We were under the dining room. And every morning at 3 a.m. on the Celebrity Silhouette, that's when they start getting ready for breakfast, apparently.
Yep.
Because
and they
we heard
banged every tray on the ground.
Cooking sheets just crashing on the floor all morning long, and carts rolling across what seemed to be the most like highly textured floor in all the world. So I usually travel with earplugs, and that was very helpful to have those available. But we were on like the concierge level of the Celebrity Silhouette and experienced that. But I mentioned that on the Margaritaville at Sea video because there's a suite level that's just below the pool deck. And this person says that they were not bothered by being, that they heard no noise. Good. I'm wondering if that's just at nighttime or if that would have been a problem during the day. Because when we're traveling, our kids take naps, and so then we take naps with them too. So usually nap time can be a bit of an issue, which was the same thing with the Celebrity Silhouette. So not only were they crashing pans and stuff for breakfast at 3 a.m., in addition to that, you know, right after lunch, when we would go back down to have nap time, that's when they're cleaning up from lunch, and it just would be crashing and banging and loudness.
Yeah, not good.
Then too. Someone says they have off Friday and Monday and they're tempted to go on one solo. We actually, I think that that's probably worth stating. We have talked about going on this cruise again, but just the two of us. Yeah. Maybe not taking the kids this time. Yeah, just for like a quick like getaway overnight trip for the two of us to enjoy. We do plan to take our kids on more cruises going forward. Part of the reason we did this one is because since it's a 2-night cruise and we had not taken our kids on a cruise before.
It's like a test.
Yeah, it was, we felt like we could just kind of, you know, dip our toes in the water and see if it was, you know, crazy having a 2-year-old, because Pierce was 2 at the time, having a 2-year-old on a cruise ship. Like, could we bear that? And it went pretty well. And that gave us some confidence about trying again. Yeah. So that's.
I think they'll do okay. They actually did pretty well on this one. So. think
Someone
it's okay.
said they wondered how we cruised to the Bahamas, stayed a week, and then cruised home. So we covered that at the beginning of the video. That was a part of a vacation package. But I do think that those vacation packages are available separate from those promotional, like marketing scams. But they're not. I guess we should say that it's not legally technically a scam because they do deliver on the what's promised, but the marketing is just a little bit shaded to make it seem like you're getting more than you really are. So just to clarify that. But I do think you can book that way, where you do like the cruise and then sandwich it on either side of a resort stay. And there are several resorts to choose from in Freeport that are there's a few like all-inclusive resorts and like varying qualities there. We did the Viva Fortuna Wyndham Beach. So is that right? Viva Fortuna Beach Wyndham.
Yeah.
Some configuration of those words. So the next one is, thank you for this tour. It seemed kind of loud throughout. Even the MDR, the main dining room, seemed as loud as a school cafeteria. What are your thoughts?
It's a cruise boat, but
I felt like it was loud. The Celebrity Silhouette was pretty quiet. That's probably one of the quietest cruise ships we've ever been on.
True.
And then I think the next quietest was our Royal Caribbean cruise. And then from there it would be Carnival. And then I think this would be the loudest.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because the buffet was like hard surfaces. So it was a little bit echoey.
That's true. And it was smaller. So I think we heard more because the surfaces were smaller. So.
Yeah, so if you're looking to go on this like incredibly quiet, relaxing cruise,
pick a better ship.
Yeah, something else like maybe MSC, maybe Princess, maybe Celebrity. I don't think that's the vibe of the Margaritaville at Sea. So that's
not why you go on the Margaritaville at Sea.
But I do feel like that from the perspective of taking children, if you feel like that, everybody else is being loud, it was kind of, it feels a little relieving as a parent when, it doesn't matter if your kids are being kids. Because on some of those other cruise lines that are a little quieter, they're a little stuffy too. And it seems like, you get people looking down their nose or out of the corner of their eyes at children being children. So they're just kind of grumpy old people, I think. So this person said, I am scheduled to go in September for a 3-night Bahama trip, and I have questions. Number one, other cruise lines allow bottled wine or waters to be brought on board. I can't find any documentation on this with the Margaritaville Sea. Was it allowed? So the answer to that was no. Number two, how is the parking? Is it in a garage or in a lot or in the weather? It's kind of a combination of both, but it was like valet parking.
You had to valet. I don't think there was a choice. Like you couldn't choose to park somewhere else. You had to go to the valet system. So
yeah, and I don't remember. And actually, that's one of the things. I don't remember what the cost for the parking was, but it was pretty expensive. Yeah. What's it like?
It was like $80, wasn't it?
Yeah, so $40 per. No, maybe it was like $20 per night, and then we were staying for a while. I don't remember how much it was. We did discuss that in the video, because with the valet parking and stuff. But parking at a cruise port, there's self-parking now.
Buzz, you are a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
good for you.
He's
you know how to work this Margaritaville.
Yeah, Margaritaville at Sea Paradise.
Very good.
Regular.
A+ for you.
Yeah. So do you know the price of the parking? Because that's what I can't remember. I know we discussed it in the video, but it is pretty expensive to park at any cruise port.
Oh, 20.
So $20 per night then.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we paid, because we stayed for a whole week, so that's why ours.
We stayed longer. Yeah. So normally on Margaritaville's cruise you don't park that long.
Yeah.
So
then
nice.
that is
Thanks, Buzz.
So that makes sense for why some people would spend $40 then. That's where those numbers came from then. $20 a night. And then number three, I'm 40 and just wanted a nice relaxing short cruise to visit the Bahamas. I'm not into partying and acting like a fool. Would this still be okay for me? How's the environment? Is it younger folk, drunk, being loud and raunchy the entire time? So I think we've covered that a little bit. That our perspective comes from like a couple of parents who like our kids go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it was easier for us to get we just went to bed at that time. Now I did go to the night shows, and actually at this point, Vivian I think is old enough. She probably would enjoy going to the shows, and maybe we can talk about the shows at some point if somebody asked about that. If not, then remind us toward the end of this, and we'll mention the shows, because I think that's an important aspect. The entertainment is an important aspect of sailing. But Buzz says in March, Paradise made a bunch of upgrades.
Oh.
That's interesting. I wonder if it would be, if maybe we could pitch them then, if they might be trying to market those upgrades. So that might be a good angle for us to think about. Maybe we could go again and cover the upgrades for you guys. The next one is this cruise was great when I went. Excellent service and food. We felt the same.
Yeah, we thought the service was great.
Somebody said great tour, thanks. So good feedback on the video. A brave family, glad you had a good time. Nice job on the video. Thank you so much for that. The green dress is beautiful. I'm shocked about this cruise.
Oh yeah, my green dress.
Yeah,
from Shein.
We always get feedback on Alaina's dresses, and we have a list of her dresses available on Amazon store, on our Amazon storefront. So that link, we used to share it on every video, but we can send it to you by request now. We don't share that on every video now, but if somebody does ask, we'll send them the storefront. But also that we just signed up for Shein,
the affiliate
program. So Alaina's
so
gonna start sharing some content about, because a lot of times that's where she buys most of her clothes.
Yeah, it's
Shein.
inexpensive.
So, and actually, I've started buying clothes from Shein too, because they actually have a lot of men's clothing that's pretty inexpensive.
And kids clothing and travel necessities. They have all the stuff.
So yeah,
we'll share it all with you.
Yeah, we'll probably do a Shein haul before our next trip.
I have several planned. So.
And yeah, we have a beach essentials video coming up, so we might share some things there and stuff too.
Green dress is good.
So nice review. Love the honesty and the information. I appreciate that somebody looked at it and realized that we were trying to be balanced with it.
Yeah.
I just did the 3-day, 2-night and enjoyed my time. I would definitely do it again for a quick getaway. We felt the same way.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the only cruise vacation I'm taking in the year, I mean, one's better than nothing, but we're excited about going on like a longer cruise this time. This will be the longest cruise I've ever been on, the one that's coming up for us.
I've been on a Royal Caribbean that I think was the one I went with my family was 6 days.
Okay, so this is the same length.
Okay.
We're doing like a 6 or 7 day package thing, like 6 nights, 7 days kind of thing, coming up soon. But yeah, this is nice though, like that's why we think it's really good for like just the two of us to go.
Yeah.
Because it's like $50 per person per night or something.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it like. Sometimes you can get it maybe like $100 in a couple. They have raised their prices a little bit, but everybody has on everything.
Economy.
Yeah. So, just the two of us to be able to do a 2-night cruise, that is a short, easy to get away for like an anniversary.
Yeah, it's not like this is our family vacation. We do it every year. It's not that kind of cruise. It is just like, hey, we have this free weekend next month and we have $100, so let's go on this little weekend cruise. It's one of those.
So Buzz says the Paradise equals Winn-Dixie, but the Islander equals Publix.
Ooh, fancy.
And he said we shop at both, if you know what I mean, and neither
Yes.
has Heinz 57 yet.
Are you allowed to bring Are you allowed to bring your own Heinz 57 on the boat?
That's so funny. But I have seen some tour, like some advertising, some marketing for the Islander, and it looks like, is there a playground on board? Because it looks like that if there is, it tells me that there was some designing for children. Now it's a 3-hour drive for us from Tampa, and it looks like to me that that's the only place the Islander currently sells from.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in checking out the Islander after having gone on the Paradise and then comparing the difference. Because, like I said, we really enjoyed what we got on the Paradise for the price. So that's why our video was partly positive for it. I just did this mid-January, had a great time. The food was very good. The service was excellent. Excellent video. I'm a seasoned cruiser, mostly with Carnival, over 15 cruises.
Nice.
Mostly a solo cruiser, looking for something extra to do, not too expensive. You did a great job. Helped me to give it some consideration. And this is Dawn from Ocala. So that's pretty cool. And then final comment. in this section. Your kids are adorable. I'm a first-time cruiser, and I'll be on the Paradise on December 13. I'm a simple gal, very frugal. I plan to board this ship with an open mind. I don't care about fancy furniture. It's all about the experience for me. The negative comments are unbelievable. I'm surviving breast cancer and just want to live life to the fullest. Thank you so much, as
Good
this
for
helps.
you.
Yeah, congratulations on
Nice.
that. And thanks for sharing. And then we have, we'll get complete these comments here. Buzz said they provided it for me. The Heights 57. Okay, so it is there, but you have to ask for it, I guess. And then I'm 45 minutes to the Islander, just opposite of y'all. So he's closer
West
to the
Coast.
Islander
Yeah.
than he is the Paradise. Yeah, the Paradise is only like an hour drive for us. So, and then Paradise beats any beach hotel for value. So, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing to me is like, I think people, to me, if I had paid a lot of money, I'd be really disappointed for the Paradise.
Yeah,
probably.
but that's the thing.
But I
though.
think
You're
the
not paying a
rate
lot.
was, I think the rate was set according to the value being provided. I
Yeah.
actually think it exceeds expectations for how much it is.
Yeah, I agree with
Is that reasonable?
Yep.
So, is it the best cruise ship I've ever been on?
Nope.
No. Is it the biggest, the flashiest? No.
No.
Did it get the job done?
Yep.
It did.
Sure
Would I
did.
go on it again?
Yep.
Yes, that's our summary.
Yeah.
And
That's what we
regarding
did.
the entertainment, somebody had to stay with the kids while they were when it was time for them to sleep. And Alaina is not a night person anyway, so she likes to turn in early. So I actually went to the shows, and what I got from that I would share is I actually felt like the entertainment was on par with pretty much any other ship we've been on.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that I enjoyed it more than the Celebrity Silhouette, because the Celebrity like went for this like very artsy kind of weird thing. And I remember sitting through some of the things on the Silhouette and just thinking,
What is this?
yeah, this is so weird.
Yeah.
But this was more relatable. It was just like they did, like one of the nights was like a tour of the Caribbean islands. So they had some songs that were tributes to Turks and Caicos, and some songs that were tributes to the Bahamas, and some that were a tribute to Cuba, some that were a tribute to Jamaica. That was probably my favorite part of the show. And then they did various music styles and costumes, and then there was a giant LED screen that corresponded with what was going on. The only negative feedback I would have from the shows, the first night was a little, and it was because I think I cut out early because it was just too loud. But I did find if you want to be aware of that, and if you sit close to the front of the theater it's like they're like a horseshoe shape where all the seating is. If you sit on either side of the horseshoe, it can be really loud. But if you sit in the middle and you're far enough away from the speakers, you can actually enjoy the shows.
Yeah.
So that was my feedback on that. But other than that, I think that the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise was pretty straightforward. Other things regarding like our children on the ship was there were not a lot of amenities for children to enjoy, other than they had like the kids club area, but there was no playground, no water slides,
And all
not
the
a lot of
pools,
games.
there were 2 pools, and they were both 4 feet. So our 5-year-old at the time could not swim in it because
Yeah.
she couldn't touch the bottom, because normally pools go from 3 feet up to 6 feet, and this one started at 4. So neither one of our kids could swim in
Yeah.
the pool,
It's-
which was frustrating.
It's always ideal if we can find anything, whether it's a cruise ship, a hotel, or resort that has a 0 entry.
Oh, that's the
pool.
best.
Yeah, and if there's like a splash pad or something. But I mean, once again, I think that kind of goes with the price bracket. If you want those things, Carnival cruise ships, it looks like some of them have those amenities. I think it's more standard on a lot of Royal Caribbean ships. So those are some things that I think, from the standpoint of taking kids, was a little bit of a disappointment. Our kids mostly had fun like climbing the stairs. And then as an alternative to the like nightly entertainment and the shows, what we did instead was there was some entertainment in some of the main like common areas at times that were earlier in the evening. And our kids wouldn't really know the difference between some big, like, you know, Las Vegas style show and just somebody playing the guitar and singing, you know, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You or whatever. And so we just had fun with them doing that on the way into the main dining room for dinner. And that was fine.
Yeah,
It helped them
enjoyed
get
that.
out some of the energy and keep them entertained. And it's only 2 nights. Oh, well, I mean, now they do 3, but that's what we, with it only being 2 or 3 nights, you know, you don't have that much time to fill up. And a lot of the time that we would just make sure that we had plans for what you were going to do in port to make up the difference. Because on some ships that we've sailed on, there are enough amenities that there's not even a reason to get off the ship and to go into port unless you just really want that like cultural experience maybe. And then you don't even get that too much in the highly touristy kinds of port cities. But this ship, we would definitely plan our trip around what you're going to do when you get in port. So for us, there were a few things in Freeport that we would highly recommend. And we can talk about those if you have questions about them. But otherwise, you know, we're just talking about the ship right now. Let's see, the Paradise beats any beach hotel for value. And then Ace of Spades, it says, howdy Floridians.
Hello.
Howdy. So tell us where you're watching from, and that'd be interesting to know. A couple of final things we'd like to talk about just before we conclude our stream is we are so close to 1,000 followers on Instagram, and we've really been trying to work on our Instagram game. And so if you are an AikenAdventures loyal viewer and you love Instagram too, and you would interact with us there, we would love to interact with you more. So join us on Instagram, and that'll help us to get over that hump. If we can get a little more growth and momentum on our Instagram, that will open up opportunities for us to be able to present some more attractions and to travel to more places. Because when we first started, the only thing I ever really wanted to do was just do YouTube and make long form video. But as TikTok grew, the short form game became really important. So we've really tried to work on upping our short form game so that we can provide better quality content and better places and things. And there is also Instagram is where most brand deals and the travel space live. So if you'd like to see better, you know, more attractions, see more reviews like this, and get more information from us, it would really be helpful if you hop on over and follow us on Instagram, interact with a few things, comment on some stuff, and then like those posts. And we'd love to build a community there that I think will be beneficial to everybody involved. And then the last thing we wanted to mention to you is that we have a cruise coming up soon.
Yay,
We've mentioned
so
that a few times throughout this video, but just to tell you a little bit about what's going to happen on that cruise is that I asked a travel agent friend of ours to book us a viral cruise opportunity, and then I said, what we really want to do is we want to review Carnival from the standpoint of Carnival with kids, because this will be our first time sailing with our children on a Carnival cruise. And Carnival has a reputation for being, like, they're the fun ships, but they have a reputation for being the party ships, kind of like this one with Margaritaville at sea. And we had a good experience on it, but I think it is kind of an ironic thing when, as conservative people, we like go on like the party boat or whatever. And then I think for us, it's kind of a matter of proving that you can still like shepherd your children. You can still have fun with them and things, even in certain price brackets and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like we went to the cheapest water park last year, and we had a really great
Yeah,
time.
our kids loved it.
Now the room was a little moldy.
Yeah, it was gross.
So yeah,
But our kids loved it.
yeah, but they had a great time.
Yeah,
So,
that's what matters.
would we go back to that one? Probably
No.
not. But so we're gonna look at the Carnival ship and review it from the standpoint of taking kids. But the ship that she booked us on is the Carnival Triumph, which, if you know the history of cruising, well, it's not the Carnival Triumph anymore. It's
New
rebranded
name.
now, but it used to be the Carnival Triumph. And if you know the history of cruising, the Carnival Triumph was the one that there was an engine fire and it got stranded out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, and then people were having to use the bathroom in little bags, and then they were throwing those out into the hallway, and then eventually the sewer systems overflowed and started flowing out into the hallways, so everybody moved out of the cabins and onto the deck, and they they built all these tents on the deck, and then the crew thought it was a good idea to alleviate everybody's stress by doing open bars for everybody. And then of course now you've got hungry, angry passengers that are now also drunk. And then people were being airlifted to the hospital, and a tugboat had to drag them back to Mobile. And I think originally they were going to sail to a particular location, and they were diverted, maybe because of weather, and it further elongated the cruise. So that was the Carnival Triumph, but it's been refitted now. It's been upgraded, and it's the Carnival Sunrise.
Now that's the boat we're going on.
Yeah, so I think that's the story angle we're gonna take is what is the Carnival Sunrise like now?
Mm-hmm.
So
We'll let you know.
Ace of Spades say that they live in SLC, so I'm guessing that's St. Lucie County, and they're originally from Sanibel, so they moved from the other side of the state to the East Coast. Nice. And then Buzzwells followed us on Instagram, so thanks for doing that.
Thanks,
I appreciate that. And then Rhodey with Rich is a good friend, and he follows us on Instagram. We follow him too, so be sure to go over and follow Rich. Rich always finds really interesting out of the way places across Florida. I think that's really his niche, of just finding quirky attractions that you might not have ever heard of. So he has found some really, really interesting places around Florida, and interesting things to do. And then also he does some Comic-Con stuff, and he's done some conventions, and didn't he do a monster truck rally not too long ago? And he does car shows and just really interesting things. But he started his channel as a cancer survivor, to be able to spend time with his kids. And so just a really great family-oriented channel, and just really nice people. So be sure to check out Rhodey with Rich on YouTube, and then follow him on Instagram too. Great guy. And he says, "Hello, Aiken family." So we're glad to see you. That's all for our live stream today. We look forward to interacting with you in the comment sections and also on our Instagram. We'll see you there.